Did you know that building wealth is like constructing a house from foundation? If you're not very keen on these levels of wealth, you probably will be stuck in one for a very long time. Not because you're not doing the right thing, but you're not aware. It's critical for you to map out your journey of wealth and ask yourself, which level are you? In this episode, we're going to delve into the 5 levels of wealth. And when you find which one you are at, be honest enough and start strategizing to get to the next one. I'm glad you're watching. So the next level of wealth is called financial growth. I love this one because in any given setup, you will start realizing your body is one. You can't multiply yourself to be in various places. So if you're, let's say, in a 9 to 5, if you don't invest in other assets that are making income for you, then you don't get to financial growth. And the most interesting part is, before I continue, many people get stuck in either financial struggle or financial stability, and that's it. And then when something happens to them, in the unfortunate event, you lose your job or disability or something, then that whole house becomes crumbled because the person who was earning this money is no longer able to do that. So in this financial growth level, you're supposed to have investments like money market fund, fixed income fund. You're investing in the stocks, and at the end of the year, you sit down and look at your passive income. Actually, now this is the level I would like to call adventuring into passive income. Money you make even when you don't show up. So financial growth is very important, is a very important level. What do you do when you're here? Maximize on compounding interest. Make sure you don't invest in dead assets, like a land somewhere you had, or some people are getting into gaming or whatever. In fact, if you don't understand an asset or an investment, don't invest in it. So in this level, I would say go for low returns but stable returns, and then they have the compounding effect. Number 2, avoid getting caught up in high tax kind of purchases. If you can be able to find somebody to help you come up with tax efficient strategies, that would be amazing. Because at this time, I'm imagining your income is on a high bracket. Now you're reaching where we can say you're earning C-suite or above average. You're one of the luckiest people. So you need now to have strategies like tax efficient. When you want to buy something from abroad, you sit with somebody and see the best way to ship that product so that you don't get high taxed. And then also remember, employment is the most highly taxed source of income. Business is lower. So do the math and ask yourself, is it time for me to start weaning myself off of monthly or salaried kind of income to now moving into business? Because there's a whole difference, over 30% on tax for people who are employed, and also around half of that is what business people pay. So you have to ask yourself, is my income coming from a place where all of it is being taken away by the government, for instance? And we can't avoid tax. So get a person who can help you with these tax efficient methods. And then stay in investor mode. There are 2 types of people in this world when it comes to wealth creation. There is the consumers, and then there is the investors. Stay a lot on the investors mode. Every time you get money, train your brain not to always be thinking about spending, but sometimes, or most of the time, like if 80% of the time when you get money you're thinking about investing, then we can call you someone who is in investor mode. The person who is in consumer mode, no matter how much money they get, they will not be able to do anything, because if control is not put in place, then production does not matter. That I say from time to time. And then the 4th level of wealth creation is called financial freedom. Now in this level, work becomes a luxury. You really don't have to work. You've already invested in assets that are bringing cash flow, and you've already invested in your retirement fund. You've maxed out on your retirement fund, taking advantage of employer benefits. And at this point, your monthly expenses, or what we call burn rate, can be taken care of by your investment. What kind of investments are these? Real estate, stock market, international stock market. You have diversified, fully diversified. You have more than 4 channels of income. And how you get here is by playing the other levels that we've talked about very well. There are rules to every level. You can't be behaving like someone who is in financial freedom when you're in financial struggle. And I love explaining to my clients these levels of finance or wealth, because most of us never got this information in our 20s or even in our 30s. And when we discovered, we could see how we could have lived differently in the past, and now we would be ahead. But don't worry, if this is the first time you're hearing about these levels of wealth, just do a test and find out, according to the characteristics I'm giving, where are you? And then from there, strategize and ask yourself, how do I move maybe from struggle to stability, and then to financial growth, and then finally to financial freedom. And then the last level of wealth is generational wealth. Here you now start looking for trust funds, how to leave a legacy for your children, how to protect your estate. And soon we're going to have somebody here in this podcast that is going to take us through, we'll venture into what protecting your estate is all about. How do you maximize on strategies like insurance? This is what you do at this level, where now you start protecting yourself as a key man, that when you're gone, you leave your family in even a better position than you found them. And this is something that is usually there, but most people are not aware, because affording premiums, insurance premiums are expensive, by the way. So when you're in financial struggle, is a no. Even if you try, you're going to lapse it after some time. But when you're in now financial freedom or financial generational wealth, you can be able to have these kind of strategies. And let me just highlight 3 things you should be doing here. Estate planning is a non-negotiable. Also teach your children about financial literacy, because you're leaving your legacy to people who, they are your loved ones. You love them very much, and you would want this to go to the 2nd, 3rd, 4th generation, and even after that. So start training your children on financial wealth creation, because it's one thing to learn about it on this called the school of life, and it's another thing when your parent, when your guardian or the person who is your caregiver is the one who teaches you. And in fact, somebody was telling me the other day that it's very easy for children to be taught about money than it is for older generation to be taught about money. Why? Children are pure. They have a clean slate. Their minds are young. They are fresh. They can be able to catch these things. So a simple thing like doing your budget together with your teenage son or daughter, or 7-year-old and above, should be involved. If you clearing a debt and you have a strategy for clearing that debt, if you do it together with your child, they will never forget. And at this time, I remember my dad introduced me to money as a 7-year-old. At 7 years, my dad gave me 20 shillings. And he told me, this is money for anything you might need. He used to work somewhere far. So obviously I didn't have any skills, so I spoiled the money. But when he came back, he demanded to see what I did with the money. We went through what I did with the money. It was a lot of money at that time. But after that, he taught me, whenever you get money, you have to save for a rainy day. That's all he knew. You have to save for a rainy day. So that thing I never forgot. No wonder, like I've just told you, when I got my first job, now I started saving 50% of my income. If my dad had not taken me through that, there's no way I would have started saving. I would have been like just everybody else, where you spoil the money and then one day you start saying, "Me, I'm just a Form 4 leaver because my parents did not afford." You don't have an excuse. So recap again: financial struggle or paycheck to paycheck. Number 2, financial stability. You're just barely surviving. You're just making it to the end of the month, or sometimes you struggle and borrow. And then from there, financial growth, where now you're putting strategies together, money market, real estate, you're building your channels of income. And then the 4th one is financial freedom, where you now are looking at, you don't have to work. You only work, and you can go to the things you've always wanted to do, your talents that you've never tapped into. When you're in financial freedom, you can do that. And then the last one is where you now start strategizing on generational wealth, how you want your people to progress when you're gone. It sounds difficult, but it's actually very easy. The only thing you need to do is watch out so that you don't start doing things in a level when you have not arrived. For instance, when you're in financial struggle, buying a high debt, expensive car is a big no, because you will stifle your income and then you will not be able to go to financial growth or financial stability. So I hope you've learned something. It's always interesting to sit down with my clients and see the various level where they're in. And let me give you a warning. If you're not careful, it's possible to stay in one level for forever. So if I spoke about a level which you have been for a very long time, it's time maybe you started getting some help from somebody to strategize how you're going to live. Like, for example, if you're on your third job, and you're in your mid-30s or mid-40s and you're still struggling to pay bills, then I think that's an alarm to get an expert help. And it's important to get an expert to help you, just the way you go for therapy to help you clear your mind or get over grief or something. It's the same way you tell yourself, I'm not doing very well financially, I need help. If you need help crafting a budget or moving from one level to another or getting a strategy that can move you from one level to another, or maybe just questions about the market, the trends, the outlook, and what is happening in the investment world, you can send us an email, wealthhubempire@gmail.com, or you can DM us in any of our pages. We're on YouTube, we are on Instagram, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. I do hope that you have enjoyed this episode. Follow us, like, share. If you know somebody who needs this kind of information, please be kind and forward it to them. And leave us a like, and also if you can subscribe, we would be very happy. In fact, subscribe. If you're here for the first time, welcome. Here we talk about money, wealth, well-being, and we want to do life the way God wanted us to do it. We want to reach the apex of what we were brought here to do. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. I'm so glad you stayed until the end. Come back, because the next one will be even better and bigger than this one. God bless you. Bye.